guys, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be the next part of my spooky book recommendation series, and in this video I'm going to be recommending you some spooky books that won't give you nightmares. These are going to be some books for all of you scaredy cats, those of you who want a spooky atmosphere but don't want the actual spooks. I got you covered, and I have 4 recommendations of books that I think have very spooky atmospheres but aren't scary. But before we start, I want to talk about the sponsor for today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes covering dozens of creative and entrepreneurial skills. Premium membership gives you unlimited access so you can join the classes and communities that are right for you. Whether you want to fuel your curiosity, creativity, or even career, Skillshare is the perfect place to keep learning and thriving. The topics of classes you can take range from illustration, graphic design, photography, creative writing, music, film and video, web development, and many more. An annual membership to Skillshare is less than $10 a month, but if you use the link in my description, you can get a 2-month free trial when you sign up now. So the first book that I'm going to be recommending is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. So this follows a girl named Cassie who had a near-death experience where she almost drowned, and ever since then she has been able to see ghosts. There's something called a veil, which is what separates the human world from the ghost world, and her near-death experience made it so that she can now see into the veil, which is very ironic considering Cassie's parents have a reality television show where they are ghost hunting. And so in the book they move to Scotland so that her parents can film the show around all of these ancient castles and hopefully find ghosts. But little do they know, their daughter can actually see ghosts. And while she's in Scotland, she meets another girl who shares her same ability, and she learns that there's a lot she didn't know about the ghost world. I really enjoyed this, and I'm very excited because I'm pretty sure they're making it into a television show. I could be wrong. I really liked Cassie as a main character, and she had like a ghost best friend, and it really reminded me of Casper, which when I was a child, when Casper turned into a real boy at the end, little child Riley was so into that. This book was just a lot of fun. There's a lot of Harry Potter references throughout it, which some of the reviews that I've seen have said there's too many Harry Potter references. I don't think it's possible to have too many Harry Potter references. The next book I'm going to recommend is The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding by Alexandra Bracken. And this book follows Prosper, who is part of this family who many years ago, his family made a deal with a demon, and now the demon has come back to collect. The demon ends up going into Prosper's body and living in his mind. So now Prosper has this demon in his head, and so now Prosper has only days to get rid of the demon in his head, all while the demon is trying to kill him. I thought this book was so much fun because the banter between Prosper and the demon was gold. The demon is just like so over it. He hates humans. He wants to kill everybody. He is just like the sassiest person. This book also takes place in Massachusetts, so it had a lot of the like spooky fall New England vibes, which I really loved. There was a lot of other goblins and creatures and witches and a lot of supernatural things also going on in the book that was just a lot of fun. Like, this book was just a lot of fun. I was very hesitant to pick it up because I've never really been interested in any of Alexandra Bracken's books, but I picked it up on a whim and I really enjoyed it. And it ended on such a cliffhanger, and I'm so excited to read the sequel. I have to know what happens. It almost reminded me of like a very reluctant buddy cop movie where Prosper and the demon are forced to work together or to be close with each other, but they don't want it at all. But they make a very interesting duo. The next book I'm going to recommend is Small Spaces by Catherine Arden. This follows a young girl who one day she sees this woman crying and throwing a book into the river. And being the huge reader that she is, she went over to the woman, stopped her from throwing the book in the river, and took it. So that night she was home and she reads the book, and it's this creepy story about this smiling man and a dead girl. So the next day she goes on a class field trip to a farm, and at that farm there is a graveyard, and one of the headstones is for the girl that was in the book. So she starts to realize that the book was true and that the smiling man is real. And then on the way home from the field trip, the bus breaks down and the whole class have to walk back to the farm, and while they're there, very creepy things happen. I really liked this. I really liked Ollie as a main character, and she has a little group of friends who I really liked. And honestly, I feel like this cover is a very good judge of the vibe of this book. The smiling man is definitely very creepy looking. I would say that this book is not scary unless you have a fear of scarecrows. Other than that, I think you're gonna be good going into it. So the last book I'm gonna recommend is actually a series, and each book varies on spookiness, and that is going to be the Wayward Children series. The series varies on spookiness because each book has very different tones and themes. An overview of the series, it is about children who found their way into other magical worlds through doorways. They had magical adventures, and now they are back in the real world and are unable to adjust back into society. So they end up at this boarding school for children like themselves. The first book, Every Hearted Doorway, is a murder mystery, so this one's kind of thrillery. Students are being murdered in very graphic, gory ways. Some of them are having their hands chopped off. Some of them are being decapitated. This one definitely has spooky elements with that. The second book is a gothic story, kind of reminiscent of like Dracula or Frankenstein. It takes place in the moors, and it follows twin sisters who are very different. One of them takes an apprentice job with a mad scientist, and the other one finds herself lured in by a vampire. So I wouldn't say that any of these books are outright scary, but they all definitely have spooky elements, which I feel like is kind of what Seanan McGuire is known for. She writes very dark stuff, and dark things happen in this series, but it's nothing that will keep you up at night. So those are all of my spooky book recommendations that won't give you nightmares. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned next week for my next spooky book recommendations. Bye!